All right, so you're revising A Christmas Carol for your exams? Perfect. You are in exactly the right place. We're about to do a really focused breakdown of Stave 1, pulling out all the key quotes and literary tricks you need to know to absolutely nail your analysis. Let's get right into it. So, Dickens kicks things off with this line of absolute certainty. The narrator is basically grabbing us and saying, listen, you have to accept this one thing. Marley is dead. This is so much more than just setting the scene. It's like a contract with us, the reader. By making sure we know Marley is 100% dead, Dickens makes sure that when the spooky stuff starts happening later, we can't just brush it off as a dream. It's a really clever way to ground a ghost story in reality. Okay, so with Marley officially out of the picture, the spotlight swings over to his old business partner, Ebenezer Scrooge. In this first part, we're going to use Dickens's own incredibly powerful language to build a character profile and figure out who exactly is this man at the start of the story. Wow. I mean, this isn't just a description, is it? It's like a verbal assault. Dickens uses this amazing technique. It's called an asyndetic list. Basically, a list with no ands, to create this totally overwhelming feeling about Scrooge's number one trait, his greed. Every single one of those verbs, squeezing, wrenching, grasping, it paints this picture of a man who just violently takes and never, ever gives. Now, this is a key simile you'll want to remember. Hard and sharp as flint, that immediately tells us Scrooge is cold, unfeeling, and harsh. But it's the second part of the quote that's pure gold for your analysis. The fact that no steel had ever struck out generous fire from him suggests there's a complete and total lack of warmth or charity. It's like saying there isn't even a tiny spark of goodness to be found inside him. And this simile, this one is just brilliant for showing how isolated he is. An oyster. Think about it. On one hand, it shows he's completely sealed himself off from the world, right? He's deliberately pushing away any human connection. But what can an oyster have inside? A pearl. Dickens might just be dropping a subtle hint here that maybe, just maybe, there's something valuable locked deep inside Scrooge, just waiting to be found. That's a fantastic point to bring up in an essay. You know, it's not just Scrooge who's called. His entire world is. His surroundings are a perfect reflection of his personality. Dickens uses the setting as a mirror for his character. It's a technique called pathetic fallacy. The bitter, biting weather outside perfectly matches the coldness inside Scrooge's own heart. As Dickens puts it, he carries his own low temperature around with him everywhere he goes. All right, so now that we've got a handle on who Scrooge is, Dickens immediately starts throwing people at him to challenge everything he believes. 3 different groups of visitors show up at his counting house, and each one starts to chip away at his cold, miserable philosophy. First up is his ridiculously cheerful nephew, Fred. This slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? This is the central fight of the whole story. For Scrooge, Christmas is just a financial pain. It's about money. But for Fred, its value has nothing to do with money. It's moral, it's spiritual. He sees it as a time for kindness and community, all the things Scrooge can't stand. Fred is basically the spirit of Christmas in human form. And then the charity collectors arrive, and Scrooge's ice-cold logic gets pushed to this horrifying extreme. This quote is absolutely vital. You have to remember this one. It's a direct shot at the economic ideas of a guy called Thomas Malthus, who argued that population needed to be controlled. By putting these awful words in Scrooge's mouth, Dickens is fiercely attacking the indifference of the wealthy towards the poor. It's a truly shocking, inhuman thing to say, and trust me, it's going to come back to haunt him. So, Scrooge has pushed away his family and dismissed charity. What's left? Well, Dickens decides it's time to bring in the big guns, the supernatural. Scrooge's rational, predictable world of profits and ledgers is about to be completely shattered by the arrival of a ghost. But it doesn't start with a big jump scare. It begins with something small, something weird. As Scrooge gets home, his normal, boring door knocker suddenly transforms into the face of Jacob Marley. It's the first crack in his reality. And the description is so creepy. It has a dismal light about it, like a bad lobster in a dark cellar. What a strange, unsettling image. And you can tell Scrooge is shaken, even if he tries to play it cool. So when Marley's ghost finally appears in his room in the flesh, or, not flesh, what does Scrooge do? He tries to explain it away. He blames his senses. He suggests the ghost is just an undigested bit of beef, or a blot of mustard. He's trying to blame it on indigestion. This just shows how desperately he's clinging to his rational, logical world, denying this massive spiritual event that's happening right in front of him. But there's no explaining this away. Marley's ghost is terrifyingly real, see-through, and wrapped in these heavy, clanking chains. And the moment the phantom takes off the bandage around its head and its jaw just drops down onto its chest, that's it. Game over for Scrooge's skepticism. He completely loses it and falls to his knees in pure terror. The supernatural has won. So why is Marley even here? He's not just trying to give Scrooge a heart attack. He has come with a very important message and a huge, clanking warning. A warning symbolized by the very chains he's forced to wear. This is honestly one of the most important quotes in the entire book. Marley is explaining that his punishment isn't random. He's saying, "This chain, I made this. I built it myself." It's a powerful metaphor for how our actions have consequences. Every selfish choice, every time he chose money over people, he added another link to this chain he now has to drag around forever. And just look at what the links are made of. They're not just random bits of metal, they are the literal tools of his job. Cash boxes, keys, ledgers, deeds, the very things he valued most in life, the symbols of his wealth, are now the instruments of his eternal punishment. Dickens's message is crystal clear. If you obsess over money, it will literally imprison your soul. And this right here, this is Marley's great, agonizing realization. When Scrooge tries to make him feel better by saying, "But you were a good man of business," the ghost just cries out in regret. He understands now that his real business should have been humanity. His real job was charity, mercy, and kindness. All that financial stuff, that was just a drop of water in the huge ocean of his true responsibilities as a human being. So when you get right down to it, Marley's visit is actually an act of mercy. A terrifying one for sure, but an act of mercy nonetheless. He's here to give Scrooge the one and only chance he's ever going to get to avoid forging an identical, heavy chain for himself. And this chance for redemption, it's going to come in the form of 3 visitations. Marley announces that 3 spirits will haunt Scrooge, which perfectly sets up the structure for the rest of the story and Scrooge's incredible journey. And that's where Stave 1 leaves us. Scrooge has been confronted by a ghost, he's been shown the horrific consequences of a life he's leading, and he's been given a chance to change. But the big question hanging in the air is, can a man so stuck in his ways, a man described as solitary as an oyster and hard as flint, actually truly be redeemed? Well, that is the journey we are all about to go on.